Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
It's not good lighting.
No, it's fine. I just like to check it after you sit. So that
These are not at all where I know they were. I moved them on you like pretty bad. So
they're in the tight spot in the food pads.
I feel like it looks pretty normal. How are you guys? Could you please let Paul know that you can hear me okay?
Yep, they can hear you great.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, very good. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are well. Hope you're healthy, staying safe, and managing stress the best that you can. We are going to be taking questions, like always, after the horoscopes. So if you guys want to start posting them in the comments now, feel free to do so. Paul, my lovely assistant, how are you, Paul?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Yay.
So Paul's going to be taking your questions, and he would appreciate if you can include a name if you're referring to someone specific, living or deceased, including pets. And if you are asking about a job or something like that, include the name of the company. Abbreviate if you have to, but it does save me a lot of time so that I can get to your neighbors. All right. Is there anything you want to add to that, Paul?
No, that's it.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
So I want to give a second here for a few people to tune in before I get started with the horoscope. So I just want to invite you to check out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern through Zoom. You can join us. If you can't, it will become a video download up on the website afterward. And it's already a video download on the website if you don't want to wait. So tomorrow is relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting class. This is about having a toxic relationship with yourself. Maybe habitually you have some issues with family. It can be with friends. It can be with a lover that you can't seem to shake or get rid of. It can be sugar addiction, drug and alcohol abuse issues, literally anything, okay? Anything that is out of balance in relationship and the way that you want it to be. We're going to learn tools to set proper boundaries, maintain those boundaries, and cut cords when you need to. So check out that class. It is foundational. We also have a couple free mini classes coming up here on YouTube. Now, those free mini classes are part of the quarantine series. I've been putting on one free mini class per week since the quarantine began. And now that many of you are going back into quarantine, I may just continue on with this role, probably for a while, based on my predictions anyways. Yep. So the next couple that we have coming up, the next one is this Thursday, actually, which is going to be the 16th, and it's called Why Mediumship? How learning the lost language of mediumship heals your life and the world around you. And then we have another one coming up on the 23rd of July. Both of these are at 9 p.m. Eastern. The next one is called What Are They Hiding? This is about how your physical cues will tell you the truth behind the mask that people are wearing around you. Sometimes they're hiding sensitivity. Sometimes, they're hiding depression. Sometimes they're hiding ill will or something sneaky. And your body indicates always what it is that's being hidden. So once you learn that, you can adjust yourself accordingly. Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
So we have a few people tuned in. Let's go ahead and get started with your horoscopes. Now, these are your weekly horoscopes for Monday, July 13th to Monday, July 20th. I do want to invite and ask everyone to please support my very small business and ministry here by liking, sharing, subscribing here to the channel. For the month of July, we have joined together with the Stop Hate for Profit campaign against Facebook and Instagram, alongside the NAACP and the Anti-Defamation League. And while we have big brands like Unilever and Coca-Cola and Adidas in here with us, you know, for small fish like me, it's very damaging because that is our main source of advertising. So please do support us in this fight against hate and voter suppression by subscribing, sharing, liking this video. We appreciate you. Now, your horoscopes are going to go up individually after tonight. So check again tomorrow, and you can check out your individual sign. Good. Just want to say one more thing before I get started. I normally don't like to touch a lot on health, and I cannot prescribe or diagnose. However, this is the first week that I've seen in a long time where there are so many different astrological signs that have health issues coming up either for the individual or for those in their close circle. So I'm just going to sort of wrap this up before we get into it. And I'm going to say this: keep an eye on your mothers, grandmothers, aunties in the family. There's a lot of talk this week of maternal energy contracting COVID, possibly coming up for the majority asymptomatic, however. There was also a lot of talk of the males in the family, grandfathers, dads, contracting and having more complicated issues. So we do want to be mindful this week. All right. On a higher note, let's get started. You ready, Paul?
I'm very ready.
Okay. Oh, brother, here we go again with us.
Looks gorgeous.
Your job is to tell me when it's doing crazy things.
You're
Okay.
gonna take hair advice from me?
You have hats.
I'm
right.
forced to wear a hat.
So like always, we're going to begin with Aries. Aries, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th, there's talk of maternal energy in your life, living or deceased. That could also be grandmothers, ancestors coming to you, giving the support that you need to find a solution to a problem that you seem to be reeling over in your head, turning it around again and again and again. And I think that when you're looking for an answer to something and you just can't seem to find it, you are often on the wrong side of the brain, okay? The logical left side of your brain is not always going to give you answers, and you certainly want to stay away from too much emotion. What I'm feeling with you really is that these ladies are trying to communicate with you through the right side of your brain and your intuition. So you're going to want to pay attention to your dreams, journal them, write them down, especially the symbology. Pay attention to your ears ringing. When your ears ring, you think you have tinnitus. This is one of the spirits trying to talk to you. And after the ears ring, watch for the thoughts that pop into your head. This is where the solutions are right now. Now, on Tuesday the 14th, there's talk of possibly a love partner or a daughter or a younger female in your life coming in and trying to, it's almost like combat you or get you to see things their way. It is also possible that for some of you, there is a closed throat chakra issue going on, which can lead, if left alone for long periods of time, to choking, swollen glands, lung issues. Closed throat chakra means one of two things. You were either not speaking your truth or you did and it was rejected. It was not received and you didn't set boundaries after that. So there's some kind of a conflict here going on with some feminine energy in your life. And my feeling here is that there could even be several females or people with feminine energy conflicting with each other. So pay attention to that. My sense here is that the solution is for you to know who you are, know where you stand, and to pull back out of it as much as you can. On Thursday the 16th, there's talk of you fixing up your position of power, fixing up your sense of well-being in relation to others and situations that have been making you feel disempowered. Sometimes it's not about having the power as much as it is about feeling confident and as though you are in power. It's the feeling of it that really counts. On Friday the 17th, there's talk of play ball. Now, this could mean that you're literally partaking in some type of sport activity, but it really looked to me like it had more to do with fun. And playing ball is usually a reference to you needing to be childlike, unwind, let go, entertain yourself in some type of group activity or play. In this particular instance, though, it can also mean that you're up to bat. And when Spirit says play ball, that means it's time. The gun has gone off. The time is now. You're approaching a situation where you finally get to make a play. And this could be involving your finances, but I see for some of you it's relationship or health as well. Now, on Saturday the 18th, Sunday the 19th, Monday the 20th, we have a general theme on these 3 days, and that has a lot to do with communication. I see calls coming into you. I see calls going out from you. This can mean that you find yourself in a position where you are giving direction. It can also mean that you're receiving data that is going to help you to make the right decisions. And it's all ultimately going to break down to the way that you handle it, how you decipher it, and how well you communicate out, how well you receive other people's communication also. So really dot your I's, cross your T's with that. It's a big theme, and this will be pushing you into the theme for the next 2 to 6 months. Aries, have a great week. This is really making me a little crazy here. I want to see if I can fix it before I go any further. It's like no matter what I do, the curls are like stalking and coming back. All right. Tauruses, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th and Tuesday the 14th, we have a general theme on both of these days, primarily having to do with love. Now, when I'm talking about love, Spirit's talking about love, there could be a reference to a romantic partner, but it could really be anyone who is important, significant in your heart. I did feel that on Tuesday especially, it's really all about keeping your nose to the grind and trying to not get distracted with anyone who is, it's almost like vying for your attention. There's a challenge to get you to give more than what you feel you have to give. This is a time to focus on what is best to do for you and on your work, and to tune everybody else out. But that theme of love on Monday the 13th is really sort of causing you to have trouble focusing, possibly, and it feels to me for many of you it's like butterflies in the stomach, and we may be talking about some type of soulmate connection or karmic lessons. Let's not forget that these can look identical and they are nothing really like each other. Okay, so a lot of overwhelming feelings there in love and romance. On Monday the 13th and Tuesday the 14th, there's talk here of restriction on both of those days. Now, that could be you feeling restricted by an authority figure, anyone ranging from your parents to your boss to, don't take this the wrong way, but even a spouse. Sometimes when you're entangled and you have financial entanglement and things like this, you could start to see each other as a position of authority because it can restrict you in some way. You need a group effort there sometimes to move about. So there is talk of you feeling restricted, but really being very determined to find your way out of it. And I see that coming more to the forefront on Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th, and Thursday the 16th. If you want out of that type of restriction, you're going to have to get educated. You're going to have to advance in your training or your schooling in some way. It is also possible that you can do this without any kind of, an institution, but it is going to require that you become then self-educated on how to move up that ladder, get around some of those obstacles that are in the way. And I feel that your strong suit is in your presentation as you go forward and your communication. You may be quite convincing if some of the obstacles are people once you're educated. On Friday the 17th, there's talk of you combating maternal energies. Now, this could end up being more like a shouting match. It could just energetically be feeling like a shouting match. It is definitely a battle of the wills. There's talk of you or this other person being a rebel without a cause. Now, whenever we're talking about that, we want to make sure that you're not wasting energy. Because if you're the one being a rebel without a cause, you need to take that ego down a few notches. And if someone's doing that with you, you need to know when to set boundaries and say, I'm not exerting my energy here. This is ridiculous. It's going to remain unfruitful. And you need to understand how you want to combat that maternal energy. And this could be coming also from someone who is in sort of a parent type of position of authority to you, not literally a mother. Keep that in mind. On Saturday the 18th, there's talk of you needing to receive wisdom from the feminine, its guides, ancestors of the world, the feminine energy of the world. And I heard, listen to the wind. And you may be feeling sad. You may be feeling quiet or introverted. You may have a sense of feeling lost about a certain situation, and they want you to look inward, that they are giving you that direction, but you have to quiet down and listen for it. I do feel the direction coming to you, and you feeling very much like, I now have the key. I don't know that you're really happy with the guidance that you're given about how to proceed forward, but it is a change regardless. It is an answer regardless about what direction you're going to be going in with a relationship or situation. And that's liberating. So we have to roll the good in with the bad. On Sunday the 19th and Monday the 20th, there's talk of you being a tree. And what this symbolizes is fruit. It symbolizes strength. It symbolizes growth. It's important right now for you to hold on to a growth mindset and understand that while a tree grows slowly, and you may not really notice it day to day, you can certainly look at it from time to time and say, wow, this is amazing how fast this tree grew, or how big it's gotten, how much fruit it has. And that is exactly the journey that you are starting on Sunday the 19th and Monday the 20th. So I think it's something to celebrate, even though you have to be patient. Tauruses, have a great week.
Katie said that she was thinking that your hair is on point today. And then Terry pointed out that you always look so pretty.
Oh, thank you, ladies. I needed to hear that. I flat ironed for an hour to go into humidity and have it curl right back up. So I appreciate it. Thank you. See what's going on here. Okay. Geminis, what is going on with you for the week? On Monday the 13th, Tuesday the 14th, and Wednesday the 15th, we have a general theme going on all three of these days, and that is about a steady increase in your finances in such a way where you're maybe feeling like you're coming into more of a position of power. You're feeling that you're coming into more leadership, you're being promoted in some capacity, or your money is just doing very well, whatever it is. Okay, these are I'm talking about your resources. Whatever your most important resources are for you, that's what we're referring to today. So even if you barter, you trade, you're always looking to pick up gigs or something like this, that would also count. Now, on Monday the 13th, there's also talk of an increase in romance, an increase in love. For some of you, I do feel that you may be meeting a soulmate, meaning that you have a work contract together, and we may be able to turn this into something long-term. For others, it could be an advancement, a leveling up with a relationship that is really important to you or is significant in your heart in any way. On Wednesday the 15th, there's talk of health, watching out for your own health and well-being and watching out for those in your close circle also. That would be a great day to wash your hands extra, make sure you don't forget your mask if you go anywhere. Don't think, oh, well, we're outside, so I could talk to this person on this trail. Let's not, okay? Just be extra cautious. On Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th, there is talk of an awful lot of push. And this push is coming from you. It is for your own agenda or your cause, as Spirit referred to it as. And my feeling here is that the more you push, you don't allow yourself to get tired. You don't focus on the fact that you sometimes feel like you're treading water. You just keep pushing. I think that you're going to have tremendous outcome from that over the course of the next, it looks like 3 weeks to 5 to 6 months. So try not to focus on how you feel. Just focus on what you're doing. Okay. Thursday the 16th. This one's interesting. There's talk of you needing to close a closet door. I would almost say that this looks like skeletons in the closet trying to come out in some capacity. Well, literally, okay? Because Spirit wrote they're trying to come out. Now, this doesn't mean that you have something that you're hiding per se. However, if you are, it's going to be attempting to come out, all right? But I felt more that this was something negative that had been put on you, done to you. Maybe this is an ex-lover, or this is a situation you've gotten entangled in somehow, and that's trying to resurrect itself. And my feeling is that you are closing the door on it, and you're saying, no, absolutely not. Now, is this something to worry about? I don't think so, because you're listening to this. Therefore, you can be preventative, okay? So we don't want to worry. We want to be proactive in everything. Friday the 17th, I'm seeing a resurrecting issue. And this to me felt like somebody from your past, possibly a family member, someone in your social circle, okay, somebody is bringing up issues from the past that were never resolved. And I can feel them trying to suck you into that, but my sense here is that the proper way to handle it is not even to listen, not even to communicate about it, not even to engage. I think that because the real issue is not yours, it is this other person's lack of development. Or let's say that this was your job, it's the company's lack of development, whatever the situation is. It isn't technically your issue. So proper boundary setting is key. You have to know what is mine and what is others. Nope, not my problem. What do they say? Not my circus, not my monkeys? It isn't, okay? Now, that's very different than what we're talking about on Thursday for many of you, so keep your eyes open for both. On Saturday the 18th, there's talk of soup for your soul, and I thought that was kind of a funny way to say it. Spirit's talking about an increase in love, and they're talking about an increase in self-love. So I feel like your soul is the focus on that day, and that's a really beautiful thing because the soul is very different than the spirit. And the spirit is very different from the flesh. So we're really 3 separate things. And I don't think that a ton of attention gets spent on the soul. And what we're really talking about here is who you've been in your past lives, who you are trying to become right now, who you are, who you will be becoming. And this has a lot to do with your passion, your creativity, what you're really drawn to, what you really want. So I see you feeding that, and I think it's awesome. There's a talk with this increase in love, with it being all about ease and flow and blessings and prosperity. And when I'm looking at something that looks very much like soulmate energy, it's sort of like a storyline unfolding about who the two of you were together, what you're meant to do, and it feels very exciting. This can also be in regards to someone that you love very much, family or friends. Sunday the 19th and Monday the 20th, we have a general theme going on in both of those days. Both days it being fun with an exclamation mark. I see in particular you needing to have fun, you needing to engage in activities that lighten your spirit, that help you to recoup mentally and emotionally, which will then in turn help you to recoup physically. And on Monday in particular, I saw the sun come out. Now this is about a breakthrough. This is about the sun coming out after a storm or some type of turbulence in your life. It feels to me like it's some kind of a conclusion on lessons or karmic cycles. And there's specific talk for some of you about direction. You've been looking for some direction in your life, and that is really going to be shown to you what you're supposed to do in that situation. Not only that, but what the next step is specifically. So that's awesome. For many of you, you will have insight about your residency, where you are meant to be, where you are headed, and you will get on, hopefully, some type of almost like a roadmap for your goals in making that happen long term. Geminis, have a great week. Cancers, my fellow Cancers, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th, there's talk of your money. Your money can represent your resources. It can represent your position. It can represent anything that you use to propel your life forward and to sustain yourself. And there's talk here of you needing to look at skeletons in the closet, unfinished business, stuff swept under the carpet. So there would appear to be some type of an issue that needs to finally be looked at and resolved. There's also talk here of, are you happy or no? Spirit just kept, are you happy or no? Are you happy or not? And I think that the only way to really resolve this issue for yourself, to really move forward in an honest way, is to examine whether or not you're being authentic with your spirit. And I talk a lot on some of these free mini classes on here on YouTube about fear versus love, or not coming from a place of emotion, but coming from a place of intuition. Okay, making sure that you're not coming from a place of ego, which is all about control and manipulation, and anxiety, but coming from a place of faith and knowing that if in your bones you're supposed to do something, that's all you need to know. That is the right answer. This is easy, okay? But you are overcomplicating it in some way. So you have to really answer that question in order to move forward. On Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th, there is talk of you looking into additional education, additional training. So whether this is about you enrolling in a school, enrolling in some type of a certification program, or just going out on your own and receiving a lot of information from your own research that you can apply to where you want to be headed, or information about how you can accomplish a particular task. Many of you may be looking into something brand new that you've never looked at before, whether this be activism work, whether this be light work, whether it be about you becoming a healer in more of the clinical sense. I see a lot of activism in terms of healing the world around you. So many of you may be turned on to this for the first time and say, wow, I really don't know where to start. Okay, but it's very exciting. On those 2 days, talk to your guides. It will be coming to you. On Thursday the 16th, there's talk of grandfather energy, paternal energy, more male elder energy, living or deceased around you, and it either being a memorial for them, quite literally, or them coming and communicating with you about who you really are and why you came here. What did you come to Earth to do? So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to the ringing in the ears, and the thoughts that get put into your head after that, as well as musical lyrics popping into your head, or things coming on the radio. I would even pay attention because your grandmothers will also be stepping in, or mothers on that day. I would pay attention to them also putting specific posts on your social media, things like this, giving you guidance about why you came to Earth. This is a big deal. Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th, and Sunday the 19th, we have a general theme on all three of those days. And on the 17th in particular, I want to talk a lot about you knowing it, not feeling it or wondering if maybe, or I think so, or I hope so, but no, I know it. I know it. The more you know it, you know what you're saying, you know what you stand for, you're going to be in a unique position on all three of these days to push your agenda forward. There's talk on Saturday the 18th of you being seen and heard, and it seems to grow on Sunday the 19th to such an extent that you might be offered something. Okay, also on Sunday the 19th, there's talk of your importance, your value. And what's really nice about this is it wasn't like you building yourself up. You know, every now and again we have to get a box of cookies and we have to just sit there and be like, I'm okay. I'm worth something. I'm doing it right. I'm not lost. I'm not off the rails. You know, sometimes, especially for those of you that live a life of service, you think you've gone bonkers sometimes. There's no payout, you know. I think that what this really is about is the universe telling you that you're important, showing you that you are of value, showing you not only that you're of value, but literally what you're doing and you're thinking you're supposed to be doing, that is of tremendous value. So it gets very, very detailed on that day. Now, also, Spirit, God, the universe is talking to you on that day about resting for your journey ahead and resting from the journey that you've been on. So some of you look really tired to me, but still on track. Monday the 20th, there's talk of your purpose, all in caps. Spirit wrote purpose, and there's talk of this being revealed to you in such a way where if anyone was abused, if anyone had dealt with difficulty and turbulence, whether this be in love, family, work, money, society, there is talk of you being shown the purpose of the hardship that you've gone through and how that hardship is part of your life contract, meaning what you signed on to before you came to Earth, and how that's part of your journey, okay? Nobody goes through anything without it being part of a bigger purpose for who you are and how you're meant to ultimately go out and help other people with that same identical thing. There's talk a lot on Monday the 20th too of God connection to you. I wouldn't be surprised if you're hearing a lot of drumming in your head or drumming in your dreams, if you're doing a lot of astral travel, if your ears are ringing, you feel that you go into a trance-like state, you receive some kind of healing. We could be looking at medical problems disappearing or clearing up. When you have a God connection, it changes everything. So pay attention to that, but you really can't miss it. And there's also talk of some type of a breakthrough in your circumstances directly after that. Cancers, have a great week. Leos, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th and Tuesday the 14th, we have a general theme on both of these days. And what Spirit wants to ask you is, what do you bring to the table? Now, what I thought was interesting about this was that it was you saying to other people, what do you bring to the table? What can you do to serve me? What can you give me? And Spirit flipped it and said, why don't you look at your own self and see what you're actually bringing to the table? My feeling with this is that you may be falling a little short in a couple key areas. So whether that be with relationships, that be at work, that be in a marriage or whatever, okay? You want to examine what it is exactly that you're bringing to the table. And for those of you that don't give yourself enough credit, I think this is an opportunity for you to examine whether or not you need to eat alone. You know, someone who knows what they're bringing to the table isn't afraid to eat alone. And you may be called to examine that over the course of the next 3 days, 3 weeks. On Wednesday the 15th and Thursday the 16th, there's talk of a general theme on both of those days. And I saw, it's funny, the way that they said it was almost like old dads. And so I feel like I'm not talking about grandfathers as much as I am the way that sometimes we can tune a parent out and just be like, whatever, right? That's old dad's advice. But I feel like it's something you have possibly heard repeatedly. And it does feel to me like it's coming from a father, a parent, an authority figure in some way. Something that they have told you is going to pop back up into your head, or they're literally coming and telling you. And it is the you've been having. You've been asking, how do I solve this problem? So it is on you to solve it, and they are showing you how to do that. But on Thursday the 16th, this topic resurrects itself again. And what they're talking to you about is your honesty level with yourself. How honest are you being with yourself? Remember, if you're not being really upfront with you on who you are, what you want, where your boundaries lie, you can forget about the rest of the world interacting with that on a very high frequency. You have to get that first. There's talk here also on that day of what do you really want, okay? So figuring it out and not wasting any more time. On Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th, and Sunday the 19th, you know what, I just want to say one more thing on that. A lot of people complain, and I have a lot of repeat customers who are always like, I didn't get what I want, I didn't get what I want, I didn't get what I want. And I will sometimes stop and say, do you even know what you want? Are you sure you know what you want? Well, yeah, I want this. Okay, but none of your actions display that you want that. You're not working toward that. You haven't let go of the things that are standing in the way of you having that. You have to prove to the universe sometimes that you are ready for something you claim you want. Once you're ready, you will get it. Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th, Sunday the 19th. There's talk of a lottery aspect here, meaning that the planets may be lined up in such a way for you that you are going to not be required to do anything for this kind of a payout. And it seems to me like it's coming mostly in the form of money. It could be a work promotion. It could be some type of recognition. It could be anything that I refer to when I'm talking about money as like your resources or some type of an outlet that you need to have more exposure to build to where you want to be. But in addition to that, there's talk of you being able to bulldoze the old ideas or ways that you've been living in and to officially leave it behind. So this is like a lottery aspect with a twofold blessing, because we're not just talking about an increase in your position or your finances. We're also talking about an outlet for you to officially close a chapter or a door on something that hasn't been working for you anyways. On Monday, the 20th, there's talk of you being seen, an increase in your visibility in the world in some way that is going to also help promote you socially, work-wise, within the family, something of that nature. Leos, have a great week. Oh. Take a water.
I think you're doing awesome.
Take a water break. Huh? Is that a bear?
Polar bear.
Oh, that's really good.
It's not, but
it really is, actually. It's a lot better than the stick bear extra. All right. You guys feel free to post if these are resonating with you at all, and I really do love when you guys comment, over the course of the week on how things happen.
Amy had said that the Cancer horoscope really hit the nail on the head as to
Who is that?
Amy, as to what she's been feeling lately.
Interesting. I'm a Cancer too, and I'm good at pulling myself out of these, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. But I felt like some of it was resonating. Yeah, interesting. Virgos, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th, there's talk of an awful lot of whispers. Whispers can mean that you're trying to keep something quiet, or that someone around you is trying to keep something quiet. That would very much be like important information that we really do need to know about. All right, so you're gonna want to pay attention to your surroundings. On Tuesday the 14th, there is talk of keeping an eye on health, your own health and the health of those in your close circle. On Wednesday the 15th, there's talk of you having very sharp eyes. And this connects to Thursday the 16th. What I felt about you watching really intensely somebody or a situation is that you might be very focused on what is yours, okay? So for those of you that have tension in your work environment, or you're dealing with an ex-spouse, you're dealing with custody, you're dealing with a divorce, you're dealing with anything having to do with your money, maybe you're about to go into a contract, there is a sense here of almost like you being a hawk, like you are watching that situation both days, and you're taking note on what is yours. And I feel that there's an interesting dynamic going on here, because when you put that type of energy out, sometimes the opponent just runs away because they know literally they're defeated. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Pay attention. Friday the 17th, there's talk of your ancestors coming in and bringing you wisdom, talking to you about your peace of mind, your ability to stay centered in the present moment, not heavy and depressive because you're thinking on the past, not anxious and nervous because you're thinking on the future. You can always tell where your mind is based on your physical and emotional reactions. If you're heavy and low, you're thinking in the past. If you're anxious, you're thinking in the future. If you are in the present moment, you are just centered, like your head is empty, like a boat sailing in the ocean, you will have peace. It is inevitable, regardless of your circumstances. You will have more peace. So your ancestors are helping you to get there and to stay there. And they are pointing out that your inner peace is of greatest value. So I would not be surprised if we're revisiting some issues from earlier in the week, when maybe you want to fight, you want to lash out, you want to make sure that what is rightfully yours doesn't get taken from you. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, maybe this isn't my battle. Maybe holding on to peace is the war that I need to win right now. Maybe that's the battle, is to hold on to peace. And they said your inner peace is of the greatest value. It is above money. It is above a love partner that you want to hold on to. It is about a situation that you want to have work out your way. You may have to find ways to understand when it's time to fight and when it's time to just hold steady and hold on to your peace. We just did a free mini class called Timing, When to Make a Move. That can help you a lot this week. Saturday the 18th, there's talk of a closed door. And there was some male energy connected to that. That doesn't have to literally be a male. It could be anything masculine related, which would be authority, pushing, aggressive, could be anything like that, okay? There's some talk of you closing a door on some type of a conflict that is very deliberate. This isn't the type of a conflict where maybe two people are ever going to see eye to eye or some type of agreement can be reached. This is more, they wrote old and stupid. Okay, so when spirit says old and stupid, spirit means old and stupid. This person or the situation that you're dealing with is lame. You know, it's just not ever going to go anywhere. And so I see you needing to shut the door and keep it shut. That means no contact. Sunday the 19th and Monday the 20th, there's talk of love, and there's talk of there's talk of a pig. So I want to see what's going on here with this, okay? So on Sunday the 19th, when we're talking about love, we are talking about potential soulmate connection. We're talking about potential connection with someone where there is a contract, possibly karmic lessons. We have a class called Past Lives, Karma, and Contracts that might be able to break that down for you. What is it? I do feel that there's a major connection going on here between you and someone else. And I do feel that there's potential in the way that there's supposed to be time spent there. I also feel that this could be someone in your close circle, family, children, friends. It could be anyone that is special in your heart. Now, I just want to make sure that the peg isn't necessarily in relation to this new lover or this love affair that you find yourself in. For those of you, if it fits, okay, if it winks like a pig, it eats pig food, then it's a pig, all right? That's all you need to know. For the rest of you, pig is a prosperity symbol. Meat, different types of meat are actually about prosperity, and pig is right there at the top. So we could be looking at some major potential here with a relationship, possibly converting itself into long-term stability, marriage, anything like that. Virgos, have a great week. Libras, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th and Tuesday the 14th, we have a general theme on both of those days having to do with foundation building and you being the one who has to build it. So I see you laying down your bricks. I see you building your foundation and having to do it one brick at a time with patience and feeling a little bit anxious, like this is taking too long or where's the turnout? And I do have a love partner coming to you and saying you need to be patient. Things like this take a long time. Relationships or family building don't just pop up overnight. Neither does, for most people, right, long-term wealth and things like this. So there is wisdom coming from a partner in your life. There's talk of some of this foundation building also being in reference to your family. So for those of you that are looking to have a baby, if you're having any difficulty with conception, if you're looking into adoption, foster care, what avenue do I go in, or what's going on with my kids' custody battles, anything like that, family building is a big part of this. We could also be looking at potential relocations. Take your time. Take your time. Thursday the 16th. There's talk of you wanting to move upward. And I really felt like this had to do with your work, with your career. If there's something that you do to be of service or as a hobby, you could be feeling as though you're sick and tired of being where you are. I have put in enough. Where is the breakthrough? And my sense here is that you have a lot of grandfather, dad, papa energy, uncles, whatever, brothers coming in. A lot of male ancestors, living and deceased. Male energy is coming in, talking to you, really, really questioning you. Watch for this in your dreams, but also in your daydreams or trance-like states while you're awake. What is it that you want? And the other thing they're saying to you is don't forget you. Sometimes we think we know what we want, but we haven't really checked back in on it in a long time, and we've changed. Or our circumstances have changed. Or what you really, really want is no longer exactly that. It's got to be tweaked a little bit. I think you need to do another evaluation on what it is that you really want. For those of you Libras who have been self-sacrificing for far too long, martyrdom does not bring in big prosperity from the universe because it is against the law of attraction, boundary setting, and move forward to get for you what is rightfully yours. We also want to watch on Thursday the 16th, health. Your health, the health of those in your close circle. On Friday the 17th, there's talk of young eyes being on you. This could be a child. This could be someone you're mentoring over. This could be anyone who is more immature or who needs what you have already accomplished or the wisdom that you have. And their eyes are going to be on you in such a way where it's almost like they're asking you, but maybe they don't know how to ask. And so be mindful of who's around you needs your guidance on that day. Saturday the 18th, there's talk of you investing. Investing in a getaway, investing in a property, or whatever long-term goals or plans that you have for your life. That is the day to focus on that. Now, there's also talk on Sunday the 19th and Monday the 20th of a turnaround on a circumstance for you. So this is kind of interesting because on Sunday the 19th, I have you asking, where's the cash? Where's the cash? Where's the payout? Or where's the breakthrough on this situation, something you're dealing with someone or a circumstance? And feeling very much that there's just not enough there and you've been waiting for too long. And then on Monday the 20th, it is a complete turnaround of the circumstance. And I heard grab that cash, and Spirit was almost joking, like if you were on like an old TV show, like a game show where like the money's flying around, you're like grabbing that cash, grabbing that cash, grabbing that cash. And there is a sense of it, there being a lot, an abundance of it. So your breakthrough is coming in abundance, but there was also a sense here of it needing to be quickly done. So no snoozing on that day. You will be having a breakthrough in a circumstance, and you're going to want to get as much as you possibly can for yourself. Libras, have a great week. Scorpios, what is going on with you for this week? On Monday the 13th, there's talk of discipline. It felt more to me like you might be disciplining someone else, and this could be happening to you, so take it either way. But my sense here was that you are sort of disciplining someone else, and in doing so, you're having a realization about their weakness. So whether you think maybe they're having some kind of mental issues, or you feel that they are not doing well, like emotionally, physically, it could also be a situation where you're looking at maybe the company that you work for or somewhere you spend a lot of time. It could be a lot of things, but for many of you, it felt like it's literally one person, okay, or a situation you're very familiar with. you are having realizations about the weakness of this person or situation. And I think that you're going to be figuring out on that day how much you should be investing in assisting that person or situation to get to higher ground, and how much you should be investing in your boundary setting and saying, again, not my circus, not my monkeys. This is what's mine. This is what's yours. Understand it clearly, and do not try to pull the wool over your eyes on this one and wear rose-colored glasses, because the situation is going to be getting worse as it goes forward, okay? Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th, and Thursday the 16th, we have a general theme on those 3 days having to do with, it looks to me like training and education, moving forward, leadership, and some healing. So on all of those days, we're talking about these things, but in particular, it may look like this. Tuesday the 14th, we're talking about an awful lot of healing going on within your heart. Your heart, not necessarily meaning in regards to love, but it could be a love partner. It could also be healing about your relationships or something difficult that you went through where you needed to move on and take that negative experience, and finally you're going to be able to say, yes, it was negative, but I'm converting it into something positive because here are the lessons that I learned from it. It's a release from that. On Wednesday the 15th, there's talk of you being in a position of leaderships, either over your parents, possibly, over siblings, over an estate, taking on leadership in your work or a social situation in your community. On Thursday the 16th, there's talk of you really looking at your life contract. I'm doubting that you're deliberately doing this. I think it's just sort of coming to you. I think that you're figuring out a lot of why you came to Earth, and you're feeling very much on fire for it, sort of excited about it, feeling like, no, this is it. This time I'm not going to talk myself out of it. I know this is it, but I don't really know a lot about that. That's normal. When we're talking about your life contract work, you're not supposed to know a lot about it. If you come to Earth and you're automatically really, really good at some things, and people say, oh my God, you're the best. How do you even know how to do this? You don't even have training. It's because you already did it. You did it in past lives. You're not here to do that again. You're here to use it toward this new type of work, and you're going to be figuring that out. Okay, it is going to require some training, education, becoming knowledgeable through your own research, whatever it is. But that's very exciting that you are figuring it out. Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th. We have a general theme on both of these days, and what it is advancement of your goals in a very sort of focused way, where you want to say, I am setting dates, I am coming up with an actual game plan, I am meeting the right people, I'm talking to the right advisors or counselors, and I am moving this train forward. You're going to have to push it, but that does need to be the focus. There is also talk on Saturday the 18th of you having an awful lot of high energy toward it. So sometimes when we're working on something within our life contract, we have a supernatural strength and energy to get it done. Literally, you are tapped into the universe, and it's just a constant food source. That's how you get it done. There's talk from your ancestors, your guides, God here, of giving you blessings for your determination and encouraging you to feel happy about it. There's also talk of you needing to watch the health. I do feel mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, and this could be literal health, okay? So of your own self, but also those in your inner circle there. That was Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th. There's talk on Sunday the 19th of your elders. And these felt to me like we could be talking living or deceased, them coming and giving you some extra help. But for some of you, I also felt that you may be needing to caretake over your elders. So whether that's your parents, you're helping them out, you're going and doing wellness checks on your aunts, your uncles, okay? Anyone who is older than you that might need a hand, you're going to be called forward. On Monday the 20th, there's talk of your money, your prosperity, and bury it. Now, what that means is that you may have a certain amount of cash that you've accumulated, or you may have some kind of resource that can help you to gain more. You can use it as leverage as you go forward to get access to more prosperity. And this is really not a time to let it go. So for some of you, not that I encourage not paying your bills, but if you had a bill that was due, can you get an extension? Is there some way that maybe there's a grant or something that's being offered right now? Is there some way that you can hold on to that money? And for those of you that have it and it doesn't need to go out, this is no time to be spending it on frivolous things. Bury it, put it away. What Spirit's talking about here is what's buried, and what that's going to mean is that you may have also additional skills that you haven't been cultivating or utilizing. You want to look at all of your resources and you want to put them into action now. You have big things coming up for the next 2 to 4 months, and then again at 6 and 7 months out from now. Scorpios, you'll be seeing a lot of sort of explosive opportunities with your prosperity and advancement. Scorpios, have a great week. Sagittariuses, what is going on with you for this week? Monday the 13th, Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th. We have a general theme going on for these 3 days. There is talk of maybe this being you, but possibly this also being your spouse or a roommate or a parent, someone that you deal with on that level. So there's talk of money. There's talk of an obsession with money, and a general theme here of looking at the finances and what's been accomplished as not being enough. So we're going to break this down. Monday the 13th, the outlook on life is either your outlook on life, or again, if we're talking about your spouse, this other person you're dealing with, the outlook on life is either too broad or it is stuck. It is rigid. It is not within the flow of the circumstances and the reality on where it needs to be. Tuesday the 14th, Wednesday the 15th, this person or your own obsession over money is causing you to be blocked so that you are not able to hear from spirit. You're blocked from the right side of your brain, and you aren't listening to reason, which is blocking you from the universe being able to give you any additional blessings or prosperity. So this reminds me of a lot of situations I see my clients in where they're saying, why have I not achieved this yet? Why am I not where I want to be? Where is the breakthrough? Why is it not coming? It is possible that you've been so rigid, you've literally cut yourself off from that, and it needs to be within order, using law of attraction, manifestation, and being connected to the right side of your brain and your intuition. There is talk here of, do you hear me? Spirit kept saying to you, do you hear me? And the funny thing about Spirit is Spirit doesn't come in like gangbusters. Spirit doesn't come in and yell and shout at you, okay? Your guides might a little bit from time to time, but typically it is the still small voice. We have a video up here on YouTube called exactly that. Learn what it is, learn how to tap in. Thursday the 16th, Friday the 17th. There's talk of you looking backward and doing an evaluation on where you've been, where you've been putting your resources, where you've been putting your time and attention, including with love, but also with work, and trying to figure out whether or not that is actually working for you or you're just sort of treading water. Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th, we have general theme on both of those days having to do with reconfiguring your life, your game plan, your relationship, your work, whatever it is that you decide to do with this. You're reconfiguring with a positive attitude. Spirit wanted to stress that. The more the positive attitude you have, the more your blessings will come in. And Spirit does reward a positive attitude with immediate good karma. So be mindful of that. Sunday the 19th, there's talk of a love affair. There's talk of an increase in either a romantic partnership moving up to the next level, or you meeting someone where there's an awful lot of compatibility, and we're going to see what this is all about here in the future. You could also be seeing an increase in your relationship or breakthrough with like your children or your parents or a friend. There's talk of health, your health, watching out, and the health of those in your inner circle. And there is talk of money going out. But the way they wrote it was money giving out. Should you be investing your money where you are? Should you be giving money to someone who's asking for a loan? They wrote 2 question marks here. My feeling is that you should reassess that. On Monday, the 20th, the sun comes out. Now, the sun coming out in my readings is going to mean that there was some type of a storm going on, and now you are coming out of that phase. They also drew a peace symbol and a smiley face emoji here, which is cute. So I feel that some of the changes that you're making throughout the week, if you're doing this right and taking the time, is going to really bring you a lot of happiness, inner joy, and peace. A sense of making yourself move forward with a positive attitude about the change, even though you would have initially had a lot of resistance to it, because change is good, especially in a situation like this where things can start flowing again. Sagittarius, have a great week. Capricorns, what is going on with you for this week? Monday the 13th, there's talk of you dreaming of the life you want. And that will involve, for many of you, important work that you want to participate in. The whole reason for you coming to Earth, what is the work that you want to do? On Tuesday the 14th, there's talk of you needing to watch over your own health and the health of those in your inner circle. On Wednesday the 15th, there's talk of you pushing and there being a promotion. And my sense with this is that it may come hand in hand with some type of education, training, certification, or you doing research on your own in order to get that promotion or maintain that promotion. But it definitely is time. On Thursday the 16th, there's talk of a skeleton in the closet and that you should leave it there and not deal with it. This to me looked like it could potentially be an ex-lover, someone who caused you harm in the past, almost like a bully in some way. Could be a friendship or a family member too, but for many of you, it felt to me like it was an ex-lover. And it's funny because before this person even comes to the surface, before you even see that they're trying to get back in or get out of the closet, okay, it's interesting to me that you start having anxiety attacks. So we have a free mini class coming up called What Are They Hiding? And how your physical cues indicate what people actually have going on underneath their masks. And this would be a prime example of that. You are well aware that this person has caused many problems for you, but I don't think that you're aware of the physical cues that you get in advance before they even try to reach out to you. All the indicators are there, and that would be a good time to shut that door and to make sure that you don't reopen that chapter. No contact is how I feel about this one. Friday the 17th, there's talk of you nourishing your soul, you nourishing your spirit, taking time for you to also figure out what it is that you want to be doing with your health in regards to your weight, exercise, how you take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. Do you need more time, maybe, is how I'm looking at this for some of you. Do you need to take more time on a regular basis to get away from everyone and sort of create a space for yourself that is sacred so that you could like meditate or sit with your guides or just clear your head? Whether it's working out, whether it's weight loss, whether it's food and nutrition, whether it's feeding your soul literally, on that day you're being asked to create kind of like a schedule and a game plan to go forward and stick to it. Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th, there's talk of a closed throat chakra on both of those days. And with a closed throat chakra, we're talking about one of two things. You have either not spoken your truth in a situation or to someone, or you did and it was rejected. It wasn't received or acknowledged, and you didn't set proper boundaries after that. You cannot leave a closed throat chakra because I cannot prescribe or diagnose, but it will eventually lead to things like swollen glands, lung problems, chronic sinus issues. You can't leave that there. So you're going to need to figure out which one it is, and you're going to have to address it. There was talk here of possible issues with someone coming back and triggering this with you that is coming in as a bully, pushing their agenda, or it could almost be like a childhood issue or trauma that's resurrecting itself and pushing you around, causing you to be silenced. If you grew up in a difficult home where there was alcoholism, or you had to be the parent, or you were abused in some way, you maybe have not only found yourself in repeat relationships that recreate that, but you may have also learned to silence yourself for your own safety. You gotta let go of this now. Monday the 20th, there's talk of revisiting what we discussed on the 16th, which was that skeleton trying to come out of the closet and get contact with you again. And Spirit is talking about you flushing it right down the toilet and cleansing and letting it go to where it belongs, okay, down into the sewer to where it belongs. So you are having a very strong sense of boundaries on that day. Capricorns, have a great week. I hear something breaking in the kitchen. Is that like the cats jumping around or something?
I don't hear it.
Garcia, could you see what's happening in there? Maybe the cat's trying to come in. I don't know. Aquariuses, what is going on with you for this week? Monday the 13th, there's talk of maternal energies, living or deceased. And we may be seeing a breakthrough with you as a parent or you as a mother. We might also be looking at a need to check up on maternal energy around you, and you'll be hearing from, okay, those ancestors that are trying to contact you to bring in what feels to me like some fun, but it's also healing on a level that has to do with your psyche and a repeat pattern of negative thinking that has caused for you to stay stagnant in situations, not propel yourself forward, or to not feel that you're of great enough value to take the risks that are required. So there's a lot of healing going on with that. On Tuesday the 14th, there's also talk of your health and watching out over the health of those in your inner circle. I do feel that there's going to be some type of communication that needs to happen on that day in regards to your health also. Mental, physical, emotional. And it could be that someone who's challenging you in some way is finally taking things to a point where you're ready to acknowledge that and you're ready to say, this is not healthy for me. This is what I need to do, or this is how you need to behave from here on out. Setting up some boundaries to go forward. There's also a sense on that day of many of you Aquariuses feeling as though your car has stalled out. Your sense of power has stalled out. You don't feel that things are moving ahead in your life in a direction that you want them to. And you're asking that. You're asking, have I stalled out? What do I need to do? What's wrong with this circumstance? And Spirit said, nope, it's not that. You're just getting ready to get revved up. So the car has not stalled. It's actually going to be moving in a forward direction. And I do feel great about that. You're just in a little bit of a waiting place. Wednesday the 15th, Thursday the 16th, Friday the 17th. There's talk of you looking around for answers and solutions. And some of you looking at advancing your education, your training, or doing research on some type of a topic that can help you to reconfigure an area of your life that can help you to fulfill more of your life contract, why you came to Earth, where you want to go next, major goals that you've had for yourself, but you haven't put in the effort or the work yet. I feel that there needs to be a letting go of the past, ideas that you have about who you are, ideas that you have about the work that you've been doing, ideas that you have about a relationship, situations that just aren't going anywhere. There needs to be a growth mindset here, but there also needs to be action taken. And this is the time. Spirit is also saying make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. Don't just jump into something willy-nilly, okay? Saturday the 18th, there is talk here of mental health, taking extra special care to make sure that you watch your thoughts, that you're not feeding negativity and attracting lower and darker energies. A lot of people have stinking thinking. They think toxic all the time, and then they wonder why they have paranormal problems, okay? Don't become that person. Watch your thoughts, keep them healthy, and stay centered and in the present moment where you can find peace. There's also talk here, trickling into Sunday the 19th, of you looking at investing either in a new home, another piece of property, the home you already live in. But for many of you, it felt like it was about taking your money and investing it in yourself in some way. So whatever ends up feeling like the path for you to wellness, this would be the time. There's also talk of potential travel on those 2 days. And I don't know that it's potential as much as it is for some of you optional, because it's fun. It's about taking a trip for yourself, but for others, it's about work. So your career, your work may be taking you on the road or to other locations within the company, okay, possibly overseas or long distance travel. I do see an airplane for some of you. On Sunday the 19th, there's talk of romance and soulmate energy, speaking in tongues, which isn't literal, probably, okay? We never know. For our people here at the Psychic Academy, maybe it is. But speaking in tongues is really going to mean that there's some kind of trance-like state between you and this other person. It can also mean that you're tapping into past lives and things like this. And my sense here is that there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of familiarity due to these old connections that are going to propel you forward in feeling like this is someone that you want to keep around, and the communication is top notch, and you may have never had this type of communication in a romantic partner before, and that is gold, people. Monday the 20th, we're looking at the sun coming out, which can mean that there was some type of a storm going on in your life, or some type of a situation that was causing you to be stuck and not unable to propel forward. There's a lot of talk of love and the breakthrough on this circumstance, allowing you to build together with a love partner, or build together finally with others in your circle that you've been wanting to, but up until now couldn't. Aquarius, have a great week. Last one, Pisces. They're staring at me. Okay, guys, we'll take care of it. Pisces, what is going on with you for this week? Monday the 13th, there's talk of whispering going on. Now, whenever I see whispering happening, that means that you are either trying to conceal some type of information from somebody else, or that there's important information being discussed, but without your company. And that, to me, feels like you should have it. You should try and get access to it. Tuesday the 14th, there's talk of you being disgusted with either someone in your circle or a situation that is being, I don't want to say it's being revealed to you, because I think you knew that it was there, but it's really sort of in your face in such a way where it no longer resonates with something that you can tolerate. And there is a, Spirit said, realization that change is now, that the time is now. Wednesday the 15th, there's talk of watching out over your health and the health of those around you. But there is specifically for you also talk of your emotional and mental well-being. And if you're feeling distressed, if you're feeling like you have issues that have been there for a long time and you just never sort of dealt with them, This may be time to talk to a therapist. This may be time to talk to a friend or get some self-help books, but there does appear to need to be a release from you, and that's not the kind of thing you can get from like stuffing your head with book knowledge. You know, there is a huge difference here, and if it has to come out, it has to come out. If you want to pay someone, pay someone. You want to touch somebody on a group or something like that, my sense here is that the more you let it out, the more you're going to figure out why it's there and what to do with that information, okay? Thursday the 16th, there's talk of you feeling as though your car has stalled out, and that's a reference to your life or who you are or where you're headed. There's a sense of you not getting to where you need to be and having wasted a lot of time, which is sort of a sinking feeling for you, but the realization is that you're on the wrong team, Spirit says. So you've been playing on the wrong team. You haven't been maybe, let's say, on path or living within your life contract, or you haven't taken a very ethical high road, okay? You haven't been looking at your moral compass enough, and some area needs revising, whatever it is. And so you'll be called to recognize that and make the changes accordingly. There is also talk of an authority figure potentially holding you back. This could be a parent, this could be a teacher, this could be society or, you know, the police. It could be a spouse. Again, not because we think of a spouse as having authority over us, but when you merge finances and stuff, you get stuck sometimes. Okay, there is some type of authority position holding you back, and you're also going to be analyzing on that day what you want to do about it and how you plan to go forward, setting boundaries or cutting cords and getting out. Friday the 17th, there's talk of a need to expand your love life and your friendship circle, your social circle. This could be about sort of leaving behind family. Some people get stuck in family dynamics and they never kind of like travel or go out into the world or meet new people, or they're always with their high school friends, and it's like, okay, but you're 50, you know, maybe let's, you know, expand a little bit. So I see expansion, not only you recognizing that you need it and want it, but it also coming to you, which is exciting when things pair up like that. So we're talking about synchronicity there. We're talking about advancement in love for sure. Okay, something crossing your path there. And either exciting you, causing you to examine the relationship that you're currently in, if it's not going anywhere, or you starting something brand new, literally. Saturday the 18th, again, there's talk of health for you and your close circle. And there is talk here of maybe needing to be careful going out. Again, masks, hand sanitizer, don't go anywhere you don't need to. Don't be talking too close with people. Watch out for people around you that are shouting, or, you know, a scene where it may be, you know, people are close talkers in some way. Just be mindful for you and people in your close circle. There's also talk of hard work on that day, but realizing that it feels good. It feels good to put in the hard work when you're putting it into the right place. You're putting it in for the right reasons. You're putting it into the right person. You know, you're recognizing that it does feel good, even though maybe you're tired. But you're also asking, where is the payout and when is the payout? And I think that's wise also, because there should always be a healthy balance there. But Spirit's going to be working with you on this for the upcoming, I'd say, 2 to 4 months, with a major breakthrough about 8 months out. Sunday the 19th, Monday the 20th, there is talk of your money, your finances, your prosperity, going forward in a destiny charted direction, which means that it is written. It cannot be manipulated. It is coming. And there is talk of, again, this love partner and soulmate connection coming in here. That means that there's past life history. That means that you have a work contract together. Something dynamic is going on with the soulmate. This could also be a friend or a family member, but it felt romantic for most of you. Monday the 20th, there's talk of you having a distant outlook on your life, or looking to leave a situation and being detached, being distant. Sometimes, you know, people will say, oh, wow, you don't say very much, you know, or it seems like you're daydreaming, or where's your head, or you don't make a lot of eye contact. That's because it's too much, okay? It's too much information, this constant rambling or being pelleted with information from people. sometimes you just need to tune out. You just need to detach. You don't need all that information anymore. And that's what it looks like. Like you're just sort of distant. You're just sort of looking at where else you want to be or what else you want to be engaging in. And Spirit said, this is a good mindset for you to be in right now, because that place is where all the answers lie. That place in your head, that right side of your brain, that tuning out, that daydreaming, that's where the direction is. And the things that you're feeling drawn to, that's where you need to be going next. Exciting week, Pisces. Have a good one. That's it. Thank you so much. Was that long, guys? I'm sorry. I think I did good last week, but I feel like it took me a long time this week.
It's all right. You got a legitimate wahoo.
All right.
Not telling you from where, but still got it.
My little mole in the corner. All right.
Maybe it was the polar bear.
Maybe it was there. Hard to say. All right, this fan is just blowing everything every which way.
Picture, but his name is Jeffrey.
Free.
And now he's about to be raised.
He had a good life.
Am I getting this over here?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Send me that picture.
Okay.
We have good questions this week.
Yeah, everyone was firing them away.
Okay, good.
Loving the show.
Awesome.
My legs turned to jelly.
Your legs turned to jelly.
My jelly turned into legs.
Ah.
Okay, indeed. All right, Roxanne said thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Again, before we start taking these, I do want to remind you guys that your horoscopes are going to be broken up and reposted tomorrow as individual horoscopes. And we do appreciate you joining together with us for the Stop Hate for Profit campaign. You can help support us in that by sharing, liking, and subscribing your horoscopes, okay?
Okay. Let us start with Denise.
Okay.
This was her first time today, so welcome, Denise.
Welcome.
And she's asking, will my legal case be settled soon?
Denise. Feels like it will. There's going to be a change. There's talk of 3 to 4. So my feeling here is that we could be looking at 3 to 4 weeks out at some type of a transition with it. And I wouldn't rule out that this is a total of, 3 to 6 months that we're looking at. Almost like a reconfiguring. It's almost like paperwork went out, paperwork comes back. There's something else that needs to be addressed within it, or something was left unanswered. There's an open area. They're like, we have to fill this in, something. Now, there is also talk at the 6 week out, where we're looking at a very different circumstance than where it is now. That to me does feel like movement. And at that point, there's some talk of a judge. So if we were finding that we were nowhere in the ballpark of getting to an actual judge's decision, it starts to present itself around that time. Okay, this could stretch out because technically this is a free will question, meaning there are too many people involved. They all have free will. Every human being does. So there are too many hands in the pot to give a 100% guarantee on timeline. But I would say anywhere from 3 to 6 months, possibly as far out as the 9th month. And the 10th month, there being paperwork and official completion where you would feel like it's done. There's nothing else to do, even if there's a trickle effect. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Charisse had sent in a slew of awesome emojis.
I can see them from here. Blind as I am.
Yes, it's all sorts of.
Thank you.
They're good and bad.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
I don't
Thank
either.
you. I'll take the good one.
There's an angel one in there, so that's a plus. Okay, so we have one from Kristen.
Okay.
She said she would like to know if her mom, Sherry, has any messages or advice for her.
Look at what was just written.
Oh, wow.
So before you ask that, I literally have Sherry written on the paper, and I crossed it out because I was like, I don't know where this is coming from. I wasn't sure.
Well, there
Okay,
you go.
very good. So Kristen, yes, your mom is here. What was the question? Just what does she want to say?
Any messages
She's
or
talking about a
advice?
little bit of work change, work or money change. She says that there could be a circumstance going on where you're feeling like maybe you need to let go of an old idea or an old position, something like that. I wouldn't rule out that you're feeling something similar also in love or with a relationship that's important to you. I think that right now what's important is to let go of the old and not be afraid of the future and where you're headed, because right now it does feel as though you're going through some fairly significant transition. Okay, so just trust and try not to hold too tight. Okay? She's helping you every step along the way. I feel like you have a really bright future in front of you here, and that's not like a generic thing. A lot of people don't, okay? A lot of people don't because they won't let go. A lot of people don't because they don't want to work for it. You truly seem to want to do both, and if you do that, it's going to be very bright, and your independence and prosperity is going to be really through the roof here, okay? And it feels to me really like possibly as soon as 4 weeks out from now, but I was feeling like the next 4 to 6 months are going to bring a lot of interesting changes for you that help you to feel more like you. If you've been feeling like you're losing parts of who you are, or you're losing a sense of who you are, it's going to be returning because of this. She loves you very much.
It's awesome. All right. Martha would like to know if her partner Mariano has a mental problem that he doesn't want to address, and will I continue with this relationship that's been going on for 24 years?
Martha wants to know about, how is his name?
Mariano?
Mariano.
Yes.
Mariano. Does he have a mental health problem?
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a look at what's going on here. I would say so. I would say that this person has a lot of trouble staying stable, stabilizing the mood, stabilizing the choices, the character. When I see someone go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like that, not necessarily up and down, like highs and lows, but back and forth, that can sometimes also look a lot like a personality disorder, or like someone who has damage done to them from past abuse or neglect. We may be able to look as far back as the parents with him and see that there are some things that are now especially, but it was always there later in life, triggering him to go back and forth. So he could seem stable and then all of a sudden very angry, irritable, detached, walled off. It's sort of like a don't come at me, and then once sort of pulling back, there could also be like a despondency, sort of a melancholy, depression. I can't prescribe or diagnose, but yeah, there's something there. Ultimately, my feeling with you staying in this relationship has to do, well, that's up to you. You have free will. So I can't say what you guys are going to decide to do. You have the option to stay. So it would be up to your free will if you left. But I do feel that you've outgrown this person, and I feel that this person has had plenty of opportunity to do self-care, self-growth, and development, and hasn't. So now you're looking at two people with different growth mentalities, and that's a bit of an issue.
Okay, well said. Charisse is asking, how do I heal my relationship with my 12-year-old son when there's so much uncertainty and instability between us? And he's 12, and his initials are MD.
Oh, I heard AJ too, so I don't know who that is coming through for her, but what is it, MD?
MD.
MD, oh, okay. Well, over here, Spirits on Fire today, they drew a picture of a sun, and they literally wrote the word sun, and this was supposed to be for the next person's question. So that's already here.
Yes.
So what Spirit's talking about here is the sun coming out. The sun coming out can represent that there was some type of a storm, in this case, is stormy, rocky relationship, and that there's going to be a circumstance. And this circumstance is really an opportunity where the universe is presenting room for your son to look at you as someone who can offer some kind of solution, to see you as someone who offers some type of support that's very much needed, and to understand in a humbling way that maybe he doesn't have all the answers. And, I get it. I have 3, and they're teenagers and in their 20s, and there is a sense there for a very long time that I have all the answers and you don't know anything, and you're the one that's wrong. And so for him to be humbled like that makes me think that this circumstance could be somewhat uncomfortable. It might be a social situation, or it might be something that he witnesses in society or something like that, okay? Regardless, it's good for your bond, and I do feel him having a new appreciation for you. I think that you need to say less. I think that you talk at him too much. And I think that you don't, less is more. And I think that you don't sort of understand that he's shut you off. It's almost like a volume, and it's down. So be selective with what you share, okay? And understand also that you have a father figure coming through here who says it's not about quantity, it's about quality time. Okay, so anytime that you guys spend together, even if it's 5 minutes in the car where there was meaningful dialogue, is more valuable than 3 hours watching a TV show or, something like that. Watch for value, because it is there, okay? Don't want more. Appreciate what's there. Attitude of gratitude. It's gonna improve, yeah.
Okay. Cherie said, okay, you popped me in the mouth. And the emojis.
Yeah, so, you gotta know when to. Yeah.
There's the angel one, thumbs up, hot eyes. So that's a very big thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome.
And okay, so next up.
I just want to say this to you too. I see a dynamic here where we have sort of an introverted empathic person, and then we have an extroverted empathic person. You did, hand this down to your son, but sometimes when you're dealing with people that are more introverted or they're highly empathic, it can actually be painful to have so much energy coming at them from another person. And you don't want to be the cause of that. You're not trying to. You're not spreading negativity. You're not trying to do that, but it is, it can have an adverse reaction. So just, here's how I always say it, know your audience and know how much to give and when to pull back. Yeah, that's for everybody. I'm just saying that.
Very good. Lee is wondering if he or she will ever own their own home.
Will I ever own my own home?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think this is hard to do for you. I feel that there's been some kind of frustrating setback over the course of the last, maybe as much as 5 years. I see 5. And I see a going forward, going back, going forward, going back. A feeling of almost like breaking down in a self-defeatist way where I feel like I'm tired, that's it, I'm going to take a nap right here, or depressive, or like this isn't meant to happen, or I have bad luck. And I don't feel that, I can't say it's not real because you're experiencing it, but I don't see in the universal scheme of things that that's actually going to be an obstacle from attaining the home unless you allow it to be. So I'm hearing 3, and that felt to me like 3 years. And the way it looks to me is like there could be some type of an inheritance. I'm not saying you're getting a home, whether someone's literally handing you a home, but there could be an inheritance leading up to it that helps you to get it. There could also be a situation where somebody is giving it to you before it even makes it to market, or you're getting first dibs, or you're getting reduction on price because there's some type of circumstance with this. And I feel like regardless of how this ends up all playing out, you could be looking at yourself being settled in about 3 years. Happily, very happily. And if you want land, I feel almost like I'm looking out at my bit of land here, and I'm feeling like really, really full of peace and joy. So, yes.
Very good.
Don't lose sight of it.
We have another first timer here, Engraved Scars, who is asking, which of my chakras are blocked or in need of healing?
Engraved Scars. Okay, welcome. What is blocked?
Yeah, which of her chakras?
What's blocked? Well, I guess if I were to look at your chakras, I'd be talking through this area. So these two, I do feel like I really want to go back to the mental state, though. So if we were to talk about your thoughts and we were to talk about your communication with others and we were to talk about your sometimes unwillingness to speak and clear out your closed throat chakra by saying your truth, speaking your mind, or understanding that somebody didn't receive it and you allowed that to continue, that inappropriate contact, not setting proper boundaries, there seems to be a little bit of a block through there that then leads to other issues. So if we look at the root issue, we're really looking at the mentality in regards to who you are, how you speak, how you communicate, how you get what you're rightfully deserving of getting, how you do that with other people when they're unwilling to give to you what is rightfully yours, and also having a better understanding intuitively about who you are and what you authentically want. I think that sometimes there's a little bit of a disengagement there between like reality and what you think things should be, okay? And intuitively, I feel an increase here with the right side of your brain. So you may be feeling more of a pull toward, I don't want to say meditation because that isn't always really getting us to where we need to be, but the communication in intuitive intelligence, psychic, mediumistically, empathically, that's all the right side of the brain. So the more you sort of tune in over there and spend time, the more I think you're going to start realizing that there are a couple areas in your life where your thinking is a bit off about what you authentically want to have or where you belong. Okay, and that helps. So it's really all about the mind.
I like that one. Caitlin is wondering if her husband Chris and wondering if my husband Chris and I will still continue to be married or will we separate?
Well, you know, a lot of people ask me these types of questions, and I want to explain this. You have free will. So I can give destiny charted information and give a guarantee when something is going to happen. But when it comes to situations like love, it's up to you guys whether you stay together or not. I can tell you the highest likelihood of what the dynamics are going to look like, but that's all I can really do because either one of you could go against, you know, any information. So she just wants to know if they're going to stay together. You know, what was it?
Yeah.
I feel a wall here from him. I feel a resistance, and I don't know that he's really looking to invest in this relationship. I also feel that inside you, you're done. I feel that what needs to be happening with this relationship at this point is a confrontation on who we really are and where we stand. And if he's walled off and he's not really invested in making that change, even if he gives you lip service and says that he is, if you don't see follow through, if you don't see, you know, a growth mindset or therapy or game plan, or, you know, we're not just talking about making one change and then it falling apart 4 months later. We're talking about consistency in character patterns. If you're not seeing that, then you already have your answers. I think it's because of some of that behavior that you are also feeling done. And when you start to feel done, there's almost like a wandering, like you start to wonder who else you could be or who else you could be with or what else you could be doing with your life. So there is a sense of you wanting to go out and explore, is the grass greener on the other side? And I think that ultimately we have a little bit of personality conflict here. I'm not seeing a ton of compatibility and I'm not seeing a soulmate contract. So I'm not really sure why there was a coming together here. Maybe it was more traditional desires, like to have a house or kids or, you know, kind of live within mainstream dynamics of what we thought we were supposed to do with our lives, but not really having that the meat on the bones that are required to make it long term. And so I think that that needs to be examined. And from there, you can answer the question whether or not you're going to be together or not, you know. I can say this, I don't think that he's trying to leave necessarily, but I do think that you're getting walled out. So it's kind of the same thing.
Grave Scars said thank you.
You're
and
welcome.
the Silly Rabbit 89 says that the Scorpio reading is spot on already.
Oh, good.
So that one.
Does that make sense to you over there in the corner? We got a Scorpio here in the house tonight. All right. Glad to hear it. You guys keep me posted over the week.
Okay. Very good. Jean asks, is Keith B my soulmate / twin flame?
You know, I sense some things here that feel like a good connection, but I also sense a little bit of manipulation. And when that comes in, I sometimes wonder if one person is pushing an agenda to make it look like there is a lot more connection than what there authentically is. And so what I'm sensing here is that there's some positivity in the relationship. I think there's a great transfer of information and communication that creates a sense of, I would say, comfort, but also almost like a friendship, or like, kind of a high level energy. And I feel there's some, passion there. But I do also wonder if there's something kind of brewing, under the surface that's a little bit of a darker energy, and that may cause for manipulation in the emotional sense, manipulation in order to keep and hold you there. Yeah. So just make sure you're not doing that. And then, I was feeling more like it might be coming from the other way. I don't believe in twin flames. I've never seen it. I have no proof of it. Spirit's never shown it to me. I have no, I just don't think it exists. But soulmates do, and finding a soulmate contract, because you get a small handful of them over the course of your life, picking the one that can function in the day-to-day is the key, and that would sort of feel like that twin flame connection. Do I think that this person is it? I think it's really debatable, because I do sense instability there. Okay, so any flags that you might get that seem to be patterned in this person being available and unavailable, I would keep a close eye on that.
Okay. A Black says, I have a question about my son. Will he ever find peace within? And his initials are CB.
CB?
Mm-hmm.
I feel sometimes like, he doesn't want it. And until somebody wants that, they're really not going to achieve it. I was saying earlier on one of the horoscopes, I think something about saying that you want something, but then not putting in the work tells the universe that you don't want that something. And this is the issue that we have here. I do feel eventually, yes, eventually we all get there. But I think that there is a real battle here to not take on good advice, to not do the self-work, to not get beyond the ego and come from a more authentic place. This is a fear-based person. This is a person that feels they need to control circumstances or manipulate. This person is habitual. And so we might also see escapist tendencies or avoidance issues and bad habits there. And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I also think that it's important that you pull back your energy and don't feed it with that sort of negative mentality that, this person is wounded or can't find their way or doesn't have peace and, woe is this situation. Try to make sure that every time you think on him, regardless of his circumstances, you visualize him in that place. Happy, peaceful, calm, in control, connected to God. Just visualize that and don't allow anything else to come into your head. This can help to turn the tide.
Very good. Cherie asks, I've been wanting to open my own business, and I've done a few jobs making shirts and decals.
Okay.
Should I pursue it and start my own business?
Not so much. You know, I feel like if you're doing this, I think that you may want to look at it as though it's like a hobby. And I think if you're, okay, so here's a better way to say this. Okay, sure. And I would do it in such a way where it's like, this is my side hustle. You know, this is something I feel I really enjoy, and it keeps me going. So there are multiple gains from this. I feel you being connected to it also in a way that is almost like you have a sense of meditation or connected, you know, being connected in a trance-like way to the right side of your brain. So it's also possible that this is nourishing for your spirit, quite literally. But I don't know that I'm seeing a ton of profit coming off of it. And even when there is, I don't know that I'm seeing a lot of consistency. So it kind of reminds me of, you know, coming out with something great and beautiful, and then like Walmart coming out and doing the same identical thing, almost, you know, but not nearly as cool, but like a rip-off for like a penny, and then everybody just goes over there to get it cheaper, you know, because people don't know value. There seems to be, how's that for an analysis on America here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there just seems to be a cheaper market, and I think that if you're going to do it, it needs to be for pleasure. But I did also see somebody else wanting to come in and help with it, and I saw that there's also another potential business that you're looking at. And so I almost feel like it's a yes to business, but this may not be the end-all, be-all. And one more thing with that, there does seem to be some kind of a t-shirt that sells incredibly well. And so I thought at one point I was looking at like angel wings, but then at another point did she say something about sequins or something?
No.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm looking at like sequins, or if we were almost talking about something where we were looking at like activism work, you know, like Black Lives Matter or something like this. I see you tapping into a market that does seem to sort of explode, but it's kind of in that one key area. Okay. So if you find you're not making a lot of profit off of some, I would cut them on loose and focus there. Okay, let that expand.
That's good advice. A Black says thank you.
You're welcome.
Mariah asks, is there negative energy around me?
Well, there's negative energy around all of us. It's our job to stave that off so that we don't absorb it. I feel a negative person around you in particular, and I feel more masculine energy coming from this person. I feel that they're kind of dominant in the way that they think they know a lot, but don't. And I think that this individual sort of pushes their agenda on others, spews their negativity. There's a ton of ego-driven communication with others. And when you're near this individual, it's almost like even if they're not speaking, or there's distance, like enough of personal space, it still seems to radiate and permeate. And I think that what you need to do is to understand that cleansing is key. Now, we have a free mini class up called Cleansing here on YouTube. We have another class on the Ivy League Psychic Academy website called Hauntings, Clearings, and Detachments that can teach you how to properly cleanse. And I think that you need to be more mindful on maintenance there. Simple maintenance, like putting Epsom salt in the bottom of your shower, things like this, okay? Before you approach someone like that, which can be hard. I mean, if they're really close in your space, this person feels really close in your space, you know, you have to sort of put a protective bubble. The empathic awareness class can help you with those tools. You have to put like a wall around you and things like this. But ultimately, yeah, and I do feel it brewing into some paranormal activity.
Cherie said thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer asks, will my son and daughter-in-law have another child? And Their names are Corey and Lacey.
I think that they will. I feel a little time off or some kind of a back and forth situation going on with that. But I do see a baby boy and I do see a very chatty girl. So there seems to be some options here. They can make a liar out of me at any time. They could switch up gender or birth order. But sometimes when I see two, we have a potential set of twins. These obviously being fraternal twins, if they choose to come together as those genders in that way. But I think yes. And there seems to be a 2-year period where they're like working on this or allowing room for this. And I keep seeing fall. So I would not be surprised, in the autumn sometime hearing about this. And I think that it's all about the baby's choice on coming through. We like to have all our ducks in a row and we like to do it our own way, but we don't realize that has nothing to do with it. Literally, a baby, as did you and me and we all, right, signed a contract. Before we came to Earth, we picked our parents, then we picked when. That's all we have to work with. We can't force anything. So I think learning to work with the baby's rhythm is the smartest thing to do for a while. Yeah. Looks good.
Very good. Okay.
They can come through as individuals, or one could choose to come through and the other one to stay back or anything like that. But I feel a quiet personality with him and an extroverted personality with her. Very cute.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Brown hair, blue eyes.
Boy, like me.
Like you. Cute.
Yes. Probably less beard. So, yes. Mary Kay asks, or says, I will have a work transition with my boss retiring and a new one coming in. Will this be good for me? And she works at a university whose initials are SIUE.
Well, I feel you looking at retirement, which can mean literally, maybe you're looking at your retirement, or literally you might be wondering if you want to sort of leave that space and go over, somewhere else and retire that, leave it to rest. So I do have examination of that going on now and into the future over the course of the next, I'd say 4 to 6 months, with a lot of talk about that at the 7th month out. But I don't necessarily feel like it's coming from a bad place. I actually feel that there's very little contact. I don't know if it's between you and this new boss, literally. I see this boss sort of coming through sometimes and there being some conversation, but for the most part, not a ton. And I think that what we're seeing here is your ability to sort of focus on what, God bless you, what you like about the job, and making a decision to just sort of be distant and not have too much interaction. So it's also about your approach. And it reminds me of this great post that I like to put up sometimes that says, you teach people how to love you and treat you, based on how you treat yourself and how you love yourself. And I think that as long as you're coming from that really authentic place where you're loving yourself, you're being honest about where you are, where you want to be, and you don't even need to really say anything. It's sort of like, this is what I expect to get in return from the universe around me. And I think that you're going to get that. I think it's fine.
Jennifer said, thank you so much. She lost the last 4 boys, and there's no medical reason for the losses. So.
Right. Well, that's why I bring it up. And for legal reasons, I don't want to say I see somebody having a series of miscarriages, but they are not allowing it up for the timing of these children. And I constantly have clients that are dealing with this. You can't force a baby to come through. You have 4 miscarriages. It's not time. Just relax. Just relax. They have an agenda. Their agenda rarely matches, your agenda. And so, yeah. But again, it's like a 2-year period. They could just let it go for a while.
Okay.
Is that, one more? Okay.
Stephanie Will I ever find the loving and supportive partner I have always wanted in life? And then she asks Bill with question marks. So
Is Bill the right person?
is Bill the right one?
For her? Is Bill the right person? Bill has a lot to say, but not a ton to offer, you know? Sometimes when you gotta put it out there like that, it's because there's not a whole lot going on underneath. And I think that Bill probably shouldn't really be marketing himself a ton at this point. But I think that you're getting better at identifying when someone is inconsistent or their energy doesn't match, you know, what they're saying. And I think that what you need to start doing is picking up on those like red flags and not putting on rose-colored glasses and saying, oh, well, it's okay. Or, you know, settling for less. You really do settle below you. I would recommend the Reaching the One class up on the website. That's going to break down any obstacles that might be in the way and will show you how to manifest and attract the right partner to you. Because it is lined up for all of us. But in order to allow that person in, we sometimes have to get rid of blocks, toxic habits that are preventing it from happening. So yes, you will, but you do need to do some work on cleaning this up. And I do not feel that he is really the one. I think that he's a good one to study, though. He's kind of a lesson.
And Mary Kay said, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Paul,
Very welcome.
for helping out. We will see you guys again next Monday here at 9 p.m. For another Ask Ivy. And if you want to book a reading or a party or to check out a full list of classes ranging from tarot to Reiki to psychic mediumship and more, IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. That link is above. Take care.